This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening, everyone. A Supreme Court jury has today found a man guilty of murdering his workmate on a road in Interlaken in 2016. Justice Alan Blow described Russell Nauczynski's actions as inexplicable and has ordered a psychiatric report before his sentencing in April.
It took the jury less than 4 hours to deliver today's guilty verdict. Russell Nauczynski bowing his head in the dock as Donald Crow's family clapped and cried in the public gallery. The work friends were away together in June 2016 when a fatal altercation took place on this road in Interlaken. The trial hearing graphic details of the assault, where Mr Crow died from choking on gravel pushed into his mouth. Crown Prosecutor Darryl Coates saying Mr Nauczynski failed to mitigate the situation by not providing any assistance. Mr Nauczynski had pleaded not guilty, saying he had no choice but to kill his friend and was acting in self-defence. His defence lawyer telling the court he has no prior convictions and is still being supported by his family and friends. Chief Justice Alan Blow describing the incident as being as extreme a loss of self-control that could possibly be imagined, ordering a mental health report prior to sentencing in April. The court heard emotional victim impact statements from Mr Crow's mother, sister and partner of 16 years. All described him as a hard-working, well-respected and popular man whose death has left a void in their family and 3 children without their father. His partner saying she's lost the love of her life and her family has lost its sense of security and their guidance and influence. His mother sobbing as she described the immense heartbreak she experiences from losing her youngest son, clutching a picture of him as the family left the court hand in hand this afternoon. Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
A man charged with aggravated assault and recklessly discharging a firearm after a 14-hour police siege in Moona has pleaded guilty in Hobart's Supreme Court. The court heard Paul Hutchinson was affected by a cocktail of prescription drugs, cannabis and alcohol during the 2016 incident. The prosecutor told the court it would have had a fairly traumatic effect on even trained police and caused significant disruption to members of the community. Mr Hutchinson's defence lawyer says her client accepts his behaviour was wrong. A psychiatric report will be prepared prior to sentencing in April. While the Labor Party continues its election pledge to repair the state's health system, the Liberals say they will come down on ice dealers like a ton of bricks if they're re-elected next month. As part of the Liberals' justice policy, the party is promising to bolster resources in dealing with ice traffickers.
They're cuddly, four-legged friends, but 12-month-old Ollie could one day be sniffing drugs off our streets.
You're literally going to lick me to death, aren't you?
As part of the Liberals' crackdown on drugs, the party's promising to increase the number of drug dogs from 4 to 7, re-establish a full-time special operations group and introduce 6 specialist ice investigators.
The scumbags who deal in ice deserve to have a ton of bricks down on them, and they will get that under any government I'm a part of.
We are absolutely committed to disrupt the movement of ice around Tasmania and put the kingpins in prison where they belong.
The 6 ice investigators would work across the north, northwest and south and be pulled out of existing roles to take on the new positions. Labor is yet to announce its justice policy. Instead, it's brought in its federal health spokesperson to continue spruiking its health pledges.
We want to back Beck White's commitments in when it comes to health. Beck has committed over $75 million to improve outpatient waiting lists.
Catherine King also joining other senior federal Labor members in support of Ms White's ban on pokie machines from pubs and clubs.
Lots of people like a punt, but we also know that it has very serious social and community consequences. I trust Beck's judgment on this issue.
Anglicare and the Women's Legal Service also today throwing their support behind Labor's ban.
Regularly we see our clients themselves or their partners have concealed a gambling problem with pokie machines, and the effect of that is just phenomenal. They're losing their houses, can't afford their mortgage repayments.
The Labor job destroying policy is all about 0.6% of the population. 99.4% gamble responsibly. it clearly will not fix problem gambling.
Now, with only 12 days left until polling day, the promises are set to keep rolling. Anika Dadson, Southern Cross News.
Meanwhile, both major political parties are vowing to release financial statements before the March polling day. The Treasurer says Labor is driving the budget into the red, but the opposition claims they've been outspent on promises 2-1.
Taking the election to the business community. The Treasurer today selling the story of Tasmania's booming economy as a direct result of good budget management.
We are now probably, in my view, one of the strongest financial positions that we've held as a state in memory.
An opportunity to spruik Labor's record not escaping the shadow Treasurer, claiming to have managed the state through a global financial crisis.
It is the decisions that were made by successive Labor governments that laid the foundation for the prosperity we enjoy today.
But it was all eyes on the election, with both major parties promising to spend big. The Liberal Party is outspending Labor on health, but only by accounting for Commonwealth funding. In education, Labor is likely to trump the Liberals, following a commitment to provide free public school education.
Can you give us a guarantee that Labor won't put us back into a budget deficit?
The Liberal Party's not only made more promises, they've been much more extravagant in their spending. They've promised to outspend us on health, education and virtually every area of government.
Without revealing how the Liberal Party will fund its commitments, the Treasurer said it's up to Labor to prove themselves.
They will take the budget back into deficit, deep deficit, and he needs to explain whether or not he'll commit to a surplus, but importantly whether he'll release a financial statement as we will.
Absolutely, we'll be releasing a financial statement before the election, but what we've done today is submit our health policy to the Treasury Department for costing. It is the biggest issue at this election.
Both major parties are now committing to releasing how they'll manage the books. Economists hoping it's well before polling day on March 3. Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
An elderly Tasmanian couple has made a lucky escape from their home after it was engulfed in flames early this morning. Crews were called to the property in Richmond at 1:20 this morning, finding the blaze billowing from the roof and bathroom window. The couple was woken by a smoke alarm and treated at the scene by paramedics. The woman then taken to hospital for smoke inhalation. A fault in the spa pump is believed to have started the fire, with an estimated $250,000 in damage caused. Shocked motorists have watched on as a car travelled the wrong way down the Midland Highway near the Brighton bypass. The vehicle narrowly avoiding a head-on collision with several cars.
Oh my God!
The mobile phone vision was posted on Facebook and has since been viewed more than 150,000 times. Tasmania Police says a number of units did respond to the call-out, but the vehicle is yet to be located. Anyone with information is asked to contact Crime Stoppers. A spate of car break-ins in Bridgewater has sparked a warning from Tasmania Police, urging all drivers to lock up their cars. Police say wallets and tools are some of the most common items stolen, and that around 25% of recently targeted cars were left unlocked. A police operation is continuing to crack down on offenders. More than 100 people have been arrested since New Year's Day. Fruit growers in the state's north still have no clear answer on when fruit fly fumigation will begin again after it was suspended over the weekend. 4 Department of Primary Industry staff were potentially exposed to the chemical methyl bromide on Tuesday, sparking the suspension. It's also not known when producers will be able to take their fruit out of the control zone.
I'm not able to state as to those operational matters. With respect to the circumstances, needless to say, we're genuinely concerned for any individual affected.
It's very concerning to hear that some biosecurity officers may have been exposed to methyl bromide. We don't want any public servant or any worker in Tasmania to have their health impacted just going about their regular duties.
DPIPWI is investigating and says fumigation activities won't be conducted until the investigation is finalised. A number of community groups are calling for a moratorium on the expansion of fish farming, with fears the industry is becoming unsustainable. 8 new groups have joined forces with concerns the community voice isn't being heard by the 2 major political parties.
We are now starting to work together to make sure that a government that doesn't listen and an industry that doesn't have to ask will shortly have a community they do have to talk to.
We're terrified of what's going to happen to our tourist industry, to our wild fisheries and to our economy if our brand is tainted by its association with industrial fish farms.
Both Labor and Liberal have ruled out a moratorium on salmon farming. The Launceston City Council has voted unanimously in support of plans to build a new hotel in the heart of the CBD. The development application for Hotel Verge was initially rejected, but today given the green light.
After 2 years of discussions and planning, today some good news.
Put the motion. Those in favour, please raise your hand. And that is all present. The motion is carried. Thank you.
Unanimous support from Council to build a 6-storey residential hotel, boasting 86 rooms, a restaurant, gym and function space.
It's been a really constructive 2-year process with the City Council. It's been an open, it's been a transparent and a positive relationship all the way through.
This was the original design, but the plans have changed after Stay Tasmania's first development application was knocked back. Concerns were raised about the height, blocking of natural light and shadowing, and whether construction would impact the structural integrity of surrounding buildings. But focused on the end goal, another plan was submitted, with all objections addressed.
We've been working up until this stage ever since. We're working fairly hard to get it right, and I obviously think that the council will agree with us, and we have a project which, will be a real asset.
Harvest Market currently operates on Saturday mornings from the lot and is set to remain. Construction of the hotel is hoped to begin in August and be completed by late next year.
I'd like to think so, yes, we'll do our best.
Jessica Moran, Southern Cross News.
With more being learnt about autism, less children are being left behind when it comes to their development. One therapy centre in Hobart is helping to lead the way, and today it had every reason to celebrate.
Like millions of others around the world, Alex Geisen is autistic, at times struggling to try and adapt to the world around him. But in the past 12 months, his mother has noticed some big changes.
Confidence. He actually can now recognise and take a deep breath instead of just losing it.
Jocelyn credits much of that to the 5-year-old's time at Visibility Tasmania's Children's Therapy Centre, which today celebrated 1 year of making life a little less daunting for children like Alex and their families.
We have a team approach, so we don't have just a therapist and a family, but we try and get everyone on board, so school, teachers, other therapists.
Peace of mind for me knowing that I have support, somebody I can send an email to or give a call to and just say, look, this isn't working. Are you able to come and do a school visit, or can we come in and see you?
As new referrals steadily flow in, the centre's reputation continues to grow, with its staff hopeful of providing a learning and development platform for hundreds more Tasmanian children in the coming years.
To see the glint in someone's eye when he looks at his mum for the first time, or when he speaks his first word, because he's well regulated and well settled in what he's doing, that's the reward. Pretty special.
Tom Cooper, Southern Cross News.
Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has closed higher, with most sectors posting gains, led by healthcare companies, consumer and industrial stocks. The ASX 200 index has risen by 37.6 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 79.19 US cents and 107.12 New Zealand cents.
It began as a call to action by AFL Tasmania's new CEO and is now quickly gathering momentum and support from the state's football community. The message also getting the attention of AFL House, with Gillan McLaughlin committing to visiting the state in the coming weeks.
Yesterday, Squires made her first big statement in the top job.
I think I needed to be strong in my languaging, in what I was asking of AFL House, and I think demanding was the right word.
The move earning her praise online. At last, some clear directions from AFL Tas about the issues we face. Impressive start in the job. I like that we are starting with demands and not requests.
It's pleasing to hear because that is my job at AFL Tas, is I have to advocate for Tasmanian football.
AFL CEO Gillon McLachlan today committing to visiting soon amid widespread fears surrounding the health of the game after Burnie and Devonport were recently forced to pull out of the State League due to lack of player numbers.
And the fact that he is committed to travel here to meet with me is a first win.
An online petition calling for the AFL to double its funding to Tasmania also gaining hundreds of signatures today, with cricketer Tim Payne and Brisbane Lions coach Chris Fagan among the supporters.
This is a job that I want to be in for a long time until it's ready for me to step away. But yeah, I want to be fighting for Tassie footy, and when I step away, I hope it's in a really healthy place.
Good evening. Hobart just 15 degrees today, Launceston 22, Burnie 21 and Devonport's 23, the warmest around the state with low head. Yes, summer seems a bit of a memory now with temperatures up to 7 degrees below average, but at least the sun did shine over a good portion of the state. The southeast remained under some cloud. King Island, Strawn and Wynyard 21, Flinders Island 20, Bushy Park 19, St Helens 18 today, Campania and Friendly Beaches 17 and Lyawini 14 degrees. Low cloud lies over the Southern Ocean to our west. Higher cloud is well off there off Victoria and streaming east from Western Australia. A couple of tropical cyclones are in the picture off to the east and near the Pilbara. Some thunderstorms sit over inland eastern Australia. Over our region, cloud moved over the south and east coast today, mostly clear elsewhere apart from a band of low-level cloud over the northwest. Tomorrow, a high to our south extends a ridge up the eastern seaboard. Tropical cyclone Kelvin weakens into a low over the WA interior. The troughs over the mainland continue. Winds east-northeasterly at 10 to 20 knots, a little southeasterly over the east coast, winds reaching 25 knots over northern waters. Tuesday in Hobart, 19 and partly cloudy, 20 the top for Adventure Bay, a cool night for Tarraleah, but sunny tomorrow and 22 degrees. Launceston sunny as well, 24 the top, 21 for Devonport, 22 the high for Bridgewater. Burnie, sunny and 21, fine for Strawn as well, 23 the maximum and 22 degrees for Marrawar. And for the east, maybe some morning drizzle, clearing, 19 the top for St Helens and Swansea, 21 for Whitemark. UV very high at 9 and 10. On Wednesday, fine and partly cloudy with light winds, fine and sunny to start Thursday until a light shower develops over the northwest later, and on Friday showers over the northwest extending statewide during the day. Mostly sunny and more importantly warm in Perth, Adelaide and Melbourne. An early shower easing from Sydney, a top of 23 there, and a shower or two in Brisbane. Cloudy and 14 in Hobart, it's 19 in Launceston, clear in Devonport and currently 18 degrees. Mainly fine tomorrow, Joe, apart from the east coast, and fine weather through until the weekend, but I don't like that forecast.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Murph. Well, before we leave you tonight, a Tasmanian zoo is celebrating its first zebra. The newest arrival, Jupiter, was born this morning weighing just over 30 kilos.
She's up already, she's running around. It's amazing how coordinated she is already. She's been getting up some speed, going down the fence line at times, and Mum tries to pull her up a bit, I think, to keep things nice and sensible.
Donna says first-time mum Duchess did it all by herself with no complications. And that's all from the team for now. We will, of course, see you with updates throughout the evening. Bye-bye.